Why do parents struggle to maintain boundaries with their children? Hello, friends. Today, let's have a chat about a challenge all parents face at some point: how to maintain the boundaries we set for our kids. Have you ever created a rule only to find yourself breaking it later? Or felt like it's almost impossible to enforce those limits? Don't worry, you're not alone. To kick things off, let me share a little story that might sound all too familiar. A never-ending cycle. A mother sets a rule: you must fold your clothes and put them away yourself. A few days later, she ends up folding and putting them away for her child because it's quicker. Then, a few more days pass, and she gets frustrated, saying, "Why do I have to do everything around here?" Does this ring a bell? This is the never-ending cycle many of us create. Parents start with good intentions, but when things get tough, we give in. The result? Kids don't understand where the boundaries lie, and we end up feeling exhausted and resentful. So, what makes it so hard to stick to these boundaries? Let's explore 7 reasons why maintaining boundaries can be a struggle. It takes a lot of effort to stick to boundaries. Have you noticed that some rules are easier to enforce than others? For example, limiting screen time can be as simple as taking away the device. But telling your child, "You must be in bed by 7 p.m. is a different story. Your child might still be bouncing around the house, and you'll need to remind, coax, or even lie down next to them to calm them down. Sounds exhausting already, doesn't it? But that's just one part of the struggle. Let's dive deeper. No one likes hearing their child whine and cry. Let's be honest, listening to a child whine or throw a tantrum is tough. Even if you know you're doing the right thing by holding firm to a boundary, it can still test your patience. Sometimes, it feels easier to give in just to avoid the noise. Right? Parents want a quick fix. Here's a trap many of us fall into. When your child starts whining, it's tempting to think, "Fine, I'll just give them what they want so I can move on." But every time you do that, you make the boundary weaker. Next time your child pushes back, try to take a deep breath and remind yourself, sticking to the boundary now will make things easier in the long run. Parents feel guilty about their child's emotions. Do you sometimes feel responsible for your child's feelings? This often stems from our own childhood experiences. Remember being told, "You've made your friends sad, now go play with them to make it better." Over time, this teaches us that we're responsible for others' emotions, even at the expense of our own boundaries. But here's the truth: it's okay for your child to feel upset. Emotions are a natural part of life, and it's not your job to shield them from every negative feeling. Parents believe they have to sacrifice themselves. Parenting often comes with the narrative of sacrificing everything for your child. While it's important to care for your kids, constantly ignoring your own needs and boundaries can set a bad example. After all, how can we teach our children to set healthy boundaries if we don't do it ourselves? It's not really a boundary you care about. Sometimes, we set rules because we think we should. For example, maybe you feel pressured to have your child learn piano because all the other kids are doing it. But if it's not something you truly value, you'll struggle to enforce it. Boundaries work best when they align with your own beliefs and priorities, not someone else's expectations. Parents expect their kids to maintain the boundaries. Here's a reality check. Maintaining boundaries is the parent's job, not the child's. Kids will eventually adapt to the rules, but they won't naturally enforce them. That's why it's so important for parents to stay consistent. Yes, it's hard work, but when you're firm, kids learn to respect those boundaries over time. Conclusion. So, how can you make it easier to stick to boundaries? Start by asking yourself, what boundaries truly matter to me and my family? Once you identify the ones that align with your values, it'll be easier to stay consistent. Parenting is full of challenges, but it's also an opportunity to grow alongside your children. Be patient. And remember, every boundary you uphold not only helps your child grow but also strengthens you as a parent. Do you see yourself in any of these scenarios? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts.